Welcome into the Oklahoman's video studio. Time for our monthly segment with our friends from the Oklahoma Film and Music Office. Tava Molesovsky, director, joins us as always. Tava, great to see you.
Yeah, you too, David.
Always good to see you, and I always appreciate you rounding up quality guests for us to talk with the film and music world. We have Avril Z Speaks. Very nice to meet you, Avril.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
On your way to South by Southwest.
Yes.
Speaking of South by Southwest, Mallory Eagle, our musician here. Great to meet you as well, Mallory.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
And Mallory will perform a song towards the end of this segment as well. She has a new album that has just dropped. But Tava, over to you first. What do we need to get caught up on?
Well, so since we were in here in February, we had a representative in Kansas City at the Folk Alliance International Music Festival and Conference. And Brian Horton, who is owner of Horton Records out of Tulsa, spearheaded and brought a group of 25 plus artists, Oklahoma artists, to Kansas City to pop up in the Oklahoma room at this international festival. So I've heard some positive reports from artists, and just that the Oklahoma room is always one of the most popular in the big tower of the hotel there that they do the conference in. And usually Brian is wonderful about later in the year we start hearing of all the fruit, really, and measuring the fruit that came out of that experience.
The networking, the collaboration.
The tours that different artists have landed, and distribution on albums and things like that. That's why we do these things. That's why the State Film and Music Office goes to places like Kansas City and different music and film festivals to promote our people, our talent. So that was a huge success. Last month we had Andy and Kyle here, and obviously they performed well there, along with Carter Sampson, and just the list is a huge list. Were you there?
I wasn't, but a lot of my friends were.
Yeah. I mean, I just heard great things. So, so that was a huge success. And then as far as the film world, where we're just getting into more of the music, the local music festivals here in the state. So we'll talk a little bit about that shortly.
In fact, one up in Tulsa we'll talk about as well. Okay.
And then as far as film, the rebate queue remains full and active.
And you're going to tell me about each and every one of those films, right?
Yes, and where they're filming and all the celebrities coming to town.
I always tease Tava to let me know the scoop, and she's like, Dave, we can't say that publicly on camera.
I have learned a lot in this role of like what's really important to the press. No, I get it. I mean, we care about just our locals, and no matter where they are in their journey.
Very true, very true.
And you do too. But we do attract through the films and through the rebate program, and producers like Avril, who get to bring in some pretty phenomenal talent on many levels. And so we'll talk a little bit more about some other films that are about to be released, and some talent attached to that as well. But Avril just wrapped yesterday morning a film that utilized the rebate program.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Just wrapped.
You.
How does that sound to you?
It must sound wonderful.
It sounds wonderful, and then at the same time it's also terrifying too, because there's like a whole other side of the process that you know is still yet to come. So this is only one piece of the puzzle that is complete. But yeah, we're really excited. I mean, it's almost bittersweet too, because we've been here in Oklahoma. It's been what, like 5 weeks or so when since we've landed here, and done pre-production and done production, and so it's like now it's over, and we've kind of built a family here, and I've learned my way around. Like, I know my way around town. I know where to go to eat. Like, I've got my spots, and I'm like, oh, I have to leave now. Yeah, I've gotten really comfortable. So I'm like, oh, so it's kind of bittersweet. So so it's good that we wrapped, but it's also that reality of having to go back.
We just have to, you probably got a good enough taste that now it's sort of like an appetizer. You want to come back for more.
Yes,
right?
Definitely,
so,
definitely.
That's mostly kind of the biggest things, and just administrating the rebate program and paying out projects that have wrapped, and pre-qualifying new projects. So keep an eye out on our website for our rebate queue. We do have continuation of a couple television series that have been filming here. Those are kicking into new seasons and things like that. But I mean, I'd love to hear more too, if we can, about your film, Hosea, that you were a producer on, and also the local ties to that film, because that film has been in the making for, I think, 5 years.
Yes.
By 2 local native Oklahomans, Suzanne Watson and Ryan Dobson, Daniel Dobson. I always forget Daniel trips me up, but and she's from Tulsa, he's Oklahoma City to Cassidy, and they have been very passionate about this story and bringing the story to life for many, many years. And then you came in just last year, so I'd love to just hear your connection. It's testament that the incentive program and our growing infrastructure is just in a very healthy state, and it's working because we're attracting Native Oklahomans to come home, and they're investing in their home state. So tell us a little bit about your connection with Ryan and Suzanne.
Yeah, well, that's one thing that's really cool about this project is, like you said, Suzanne Watson and Ryan Daniel Dobson, they conceived of this story, or conceived of this project 5 years ago. And so 5 years ago, they've been back and forth talking with the Film Commission and trying to get funding and everything into place. And so this year it finally came to fruition, but it's been a long time in the making, and they've been very specific and very intentional about wanting to shoot the film here and wanting to come back to Oklahoma. Partially because they have roots here, because they're from here and just have a base here as well, and wanted to make the film here. But also the film is set here in Oklahoma. So Ryan is the writer-director, and he wrote the film to take place in Oklahoma. And like with a lot of films, a lot of times it's like, oh, we all live in LA now. And so a lot of times in LA, it's like, oh, we're just gonna shoot out in the desert somewhere. We're gonna shoot in this other location, but make it look like it's so-and-so. And they were very adamant and very committed to shooting it in Oklahoma. So I came on board the project about a year ago. And when I came, I was one of those people. When I came on board, I'm like, do we really have to go to Oklahoma? Can't we shoot this in LA? Like, why are we going to Oklahoma? And
let me show you some places in LA before we go back to Oklahoma. Here's what I have in mind.
We've got some options here. And it was funny because Ryan was insistent. He was like, no, I think this needs to take place in Oklahoma. And we came out. The 3 of us came out in August and did some preliminary scouting. And as soon as the plane touched down, because one of the things he talks about a lot in the, in terms of atmosphere in the script, a lot of it is like the red dirt and the, and the weather in Oklahoma, like that comes up a lot in the script. And my family is from the South. I'm like, I know red dirt, whatever, like we can shoot this wherever. And but as soon as we got here, we started driving around, and I was like, okay, I get it. And even just the landscape of how Oklahoma is set out, I was like, yeah, I don't know that we would get this in LA. So by the time we left, I was like, yeah, we have to shoot this in Oklahoma. So
where all did you go, Avril? Scouting. Walk us through that process.
Oh, so when we came here in August, well, we actually linked up with the Film Commission, and Yusef took us around to a lot of different locations. I'm trying to remember where we went.
Was it mostly city-based?
It was mostly city-based, yeah. Most of the film takes place in Oklahoma City, so most of the places that we visited were in Oklahoma City.
And weren't they like real locations in the movie? Like if you were at I can't remember the name of the church, there was a church over here, you actually filmed in the church that was scripted in the movie?
Yes, so
schools.
Schools. We had we made a connection when we came out here that time. We made a connection with Midtown Church over on 8th and Lee, and really had a good relationship with the people there. And so we saw that church. I think we visited a couple of other churches as well. We went down to I don't know, it's so funny, like there's so much construction in Oklahoma, like things are changing so rapidly, like it's growing.
We know.
Yeah, we feel it.
So when we came in August, we went down to the train yard, and we scouted all around that train yard, and we were like, yeah, this is great. We love it. We're going to shoot here. And Ryan loved it. And then we came back in January. It's like, oh, okay. That's no longer there.
Just kidding. That was a joke.
Just kidding. We're not going to shoot.
That is funny.
So yeah, there were some locations.
Do you run into that as a filmmaker? I guess I wouldn't have considered that. It probably doesn't happen that often, but maybe sometimes it
happens,
does.
but yeah, not that often. And we were kind of surprised actually. It was funny. When we came in August, we had a meeting with our UPM, our production manager, Nathan Gardaki, and we met with him at some restaurant. And I right now I can't even remember what town it was in, but we went at this restaurant, and we're like, okay, that's great. So we came back. We're like, okay, that was a great meeting spot. And we tell people, like, we're going to meet at this restaurant.
Oh,
no. We come back, and we literally drove there. And we're like,
oh,
the
boy.
restaurant is no longer here. Like, we were trying to meet our production designer there. And we're like, yeah, we're going to meet at this restaurant. It's really cool, and it's going to be great. And then we got there. We're like,
Oklahoma City is a great location, but sure is shifty.
Yeah. So we all had to pile in a car and just like find a Starbucks to go meet at. But yeah, I mean, we shot all around town. I mean, I think we really lucked out in that we shot everything in this Midtown Oklahoma City area.
It's a good urban core, but it also kind of has that historic look to it. You mentioned some of the churches; those clearly were built decades ago.
Exactly. Like it's a really good place, and you know, everything was kind of in the same vicinity. We shot at the Ambassador Hotel, for example. Actually, and when we came out in August for that preliminary scout, we went to a bunch of different hotels to see like which one is going to be the right one, and everybody was just so nice and accommodating and everything. But we ended up filming at the Ambassador. You know, we shot. We did do some filming in Guthrie as well. Our last 2 days were actually in Guthrie. And so we actually switched locations from the church that we found. Like, we had a great relationship with them, but they were in the middle of construction when, you know, when we came, which actually worked because you know, the context of our story is that the main character is an architect who converts old buildings into new facilities or what have you. So in the story, he was gonna convert this abandoned church into a restaurant and bar. And so we found this church that said, oh yeah, you can come and shoot here. We're in the middle of construction, so we were like, we're gonna slide in there while you're doing construction. You know, or like even right after you're doing construction, because they weren't gonna have any furniture in there, we were like, oh, that's gonna be perfect, then we can build in there. And they were fine with it, but it just didn't work out in terms of the inspections, and like they're literally getting ready to open that church in like a week.
Oh, wow.
So just the timing of it was a little, didn't line up, and so we ended up shooting in Guthrie. We shot at the Masonic Temple in Guthrie, and which was great, which ended up being perfect for what we needed it for. So yeah, we've just been, and then we actually found Villa Teresa, which is an old convent. It's so weird how, like I said, the concept of taking these old things and making them new, that theme kept coming up throughout our scout and throughout pre-production and in all of our locations and everything. So you had this church that was it was like this old historical church that they were remodeling into this new church. And then we met this woman who was taking that old convent and she's restoring it to be a boutique hotel. And so we ended up, you know, using our offices there. We ended up using a lot of locations there. That's Marva.
Yeah, super nice lady, and she does her due diligence with her properties. So that'll be done well.
Yeah. So we met Marva, and so she allowed us to use that space, the Villa Teresa space, and we ended up using a lot of locations out of Villa Teresa. So we had a great, oh my God, we had a great production design team who just built all these great sets in Villa Teresa, and I'm trying to remember where else we shot. The Ambassador.
So like the past 5 weeks or so, that's what's been happening?
That's what's been happening the past 5 weeks.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, that's just that's right over here, not far away at all.
Yeah, we spent 2 weeks.
No, we actually did do a press release, and so word was out, before you started to film.
All right, so we've been talking about the movie Hosea. Avril Z Speaks, producing that. Let's fast forward to Jinn. We mentioned South by Southwest, and that's where you're headed.
That's where I'm headed. That's where I'm headed. Literally, when I leave here, I'll be in the car driving to Texas. Yeah, so Jinn is a film that, ironically, I started working on Jinn, I guess maybe 3 years ago, and so we shot that film last year in 2017. the beginning of, actually the same time that we shot Hosea last year was when we shot Jinn. And so that story was, the writer-director is Nigel Mumin, and we met each other some years ago. We were part of this, Ava DuVernay has this meetup group for creatives who live in LA. And we met through that, and we just hit it off and started working on projects together. And so she said, I have this feature script, would you consider producing it? And kind of through a series of events, I kind of became one of the producers on that. And so, yeah, we did this film and just kind of put the resources that we had together to make this film in LA. So we shot it in LA. She's originally from the Bay, from San Francisco, and so she kind of wrote it based on her experiences growing up in the Bay. But we shot it in LA. We took a year to just, edit, and the film kind of took off. I think it was just kind of the time. Some films, it's just time for it. It's just timing is everything. Because actually we were getting ready to do a different film, and just the cards weren't aligning. And then we said, let's put this out there. Let's just see if people want to see this. We did a Kickstarter campaign. We started with a Kickstarter. And we were like, I don't know if people want to see this movie, but we're going to do the Kickstarter and we'll see.
What's it about? And, Tell us what it's about.
So it's a coming-of-age story, and it's about a teenage girl whose life changes when her mother converts to Islam. And so it's all about identity and being a teenager and kind of being in this space where, you want to have fun and you want to dance with your friends and all of this. And and her mom kind of springs this new religion on her, and she doesn't know what to do. And so it's all about her trying to figure out her identity in the midst of this major change. And so, so we put it out there. We did this Kickstarter campaign. We met our goal. We raised $25,000. We were like, okay, I think people might want to see the movie. So we just kind of went with it from there, and it literally became kind of a snowball where after that Kickstarter campaign, we started getting into, other labs. Like we got into a fast track lab, we got into a Sundance lab. Once we finished shooting the film, we did a Sundance lab for music and sound design. We got grants from San Francisco Film Society. It just kind of became a snowball effect, and then we found out we got into South by Southwest. So, and in the competition, in the narrative competition category, which was, a huge win for us. So,
congratulations. Yeah,
we're really excited. We're really excited. So, like I said, in terms of timing, it worked out great because right after we wrapped on Jinn, I was so excited. I was like, this was. I'm just so excited about this movie. And I'm like, I need another movie. Like, what can I do now? And then I got the call from Ryan to do Hosea, and I was like, okay. And then the whole Oklahoma thing.
And here we are.
Here we are.
And here we are. I love it. Great story.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck at South by Southwest and with Jinn. What happens? What's the process now with Jinn? What happens?
So with Jinn, we'll go to South by Southwest, and we actually have 3 screenings in South by. And so now it's just a matter of, it's like we've been working on this film for so long, and now it's a matter of getting it out into the world. So the film is going to premiere on Sunday. It premieres this Sunday on the 11th at 11:15. And so, we're going to see what happens with the film from there. We have these 3 screenings. We have some other festivals lined up that we're going to screen at as well, like later on in the year. And so we're going to do that, and hopefully we'll get distribution. We're actively seeking out distributors and actively kind of knocking on those doors and trying to get people to watch the film. So we're trying to get people to come to the screening, and also, we have some screenings that are happening in LA with distributors and everything. So hopefully soon, hopefully you'll be able to see Jinn in a theater or on a TV screen or on Netflix or something like that soon.
Well, this will be a good segue over to Mallory. That Avril Z Speaks, producer of Jinn, that'll have its world debut this Sunday. There you see it at South by Southwest. Mallory, speaking of South by Southwest, will you be there as well?
I'm going to be roaming around. My friend and I got a ticket to the Luck Reunion out on Willie Nelson's ranch, so it's going to be a good time. It's going to be fun. It's going to be rowdy. I'm ready for it.
Cool. Tell us about your musical stylings.
So
well, we laughed about the red dirt earlier.
Yeah, the red dirt. Yes, it's
Could
actually
be a good fit with the film. I'm just saying.
Hey, maybe we just need to link up, do a little co-project. Yeah, so I grew up going to bluegrass, picking jams my whole life, and just. I think in the womb, my dad just played me like Willie and Burl and Waylon, you know, and I'm just in there loving it. But I've always been a country music lover and bluegrass lover and roots and all that, and that just kind of flowed out when I started writing. I actually thought I was going to maybe do jazz or something, and I still have a love for jazz and R&B, but once I started writing, it was very apparent that I was in my red dirt boots, like they were in. So yeah.
Well, we mentioned earlier you have a new album.
I do.
Red Dirt Home. What's that a collection? Is there a narrative, a theme of this album?
So basically, Red Dirt Home. That is the title track. That's the song I'll play for us later. It's just kind of my journey of writing, early writing. I've only been writing for about a year and a half, taking my hand at it, and so. Just kind of the songs that come along with that, and there's some different stories. It doesn't have an overall story, but has kind of an underlying tone and theme.
You're here, you're from here.
I am.
Out of Oklahoma City. Where can we find more of you at?
More of me at, well, tomorrow actually. Wow, that came up fast. Tomorrow I'll be playing at West Elm is having a Women's Day event. And so I'll be playing.
International Women's Day, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'll be playing for that. And Friday, I'll be at a Loft Hotels downtown playing. And next week, I will be at the Rodeo Opry, which is where I really owe the Rodeo Opry a lot of thanks. They've given me all the tools I need to be the musician I am today, as well as ACM, which is where I went to school. We'll probably talk about that here in a minute.
Let's talk about the Rodeo Opry a little bit. It's down in the Stockyards area. What should people know about that?
The Rodeo Opry is a family-friendly country and Western music venue. It's got an old, it looks like it's an old theater, and it's just beautiful. And the Scarberries and the whole band are so great. I mean, you're gonna just leave happy and tapping your toe and get that red dirt in you. Yeah, I've grown up there. Grown up as in from 18 on, so my young adult life grown up there. But it's an amazing place, and they have artists such as, you know, they've had Wanda Jackson on. I've seen Josh Turner play there. Your brother, actually, Zach Malloy, he came through and did a little workshop for songwriting, and honestly those workshops really helped inspire me to continue writing and getting that feedback from professional artists that are out there doing it and hearing their comments and thoughts back on my songs and you know, just ideas I could try out. So
she's Mallory Eagle. You can catch her at the Rodeo Opry. As she mentioned, she's going to play a selection, the title track off of Red Dirt Home in just a second. But first, let's talk a little music, Taba. She segued into the Metro Music Fest, ACM at UCO. We talked about Tulsa earlier. What's happening on the music scene?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go a little bit in date order here, just with a few things, and we'll end up back at the Metro Music Fest. But first, next week, these lovely ladies will be down at South by. We also have a lot of Okies, like a whole herd, going down as usual.
It's a fun time. I've been there a couple times. Whether it's the film, the technology, the music, you can really just do a deep dive into various genres and learn a lot, the internet side as well. But
there's always a lot of Oklahomans down there. Lance McDaniel with Dead Center Film Festival, he'll be making his rounds, I'm sure. Definitely want to connect Avril and Lance. And
tacos. There's great tacos in Austin.
Better tacos here.
I'm ready for it.
Sorry, Taba, I keep interrupting.
Come on. I'm talking about Oklahoma here, not Texas.
Stay focused there.
Although I know our Texas Film Commission, Music Commission friends, they have nice events as well. But the Tulsa Office of Film, Music, Arts, and Culture, Tulsa FMAC, and it's actually tulsafmac.com. You can go there to get more details on Tulsa Boom Factory. So their day showcase will be on March 15th. And it's from 11:30 to 5. And again, you can get all the details as far as location. But there are so many amazing Oklahoma artists. John Fulbright, Parker Millsap. It's a wonderful list. Abby Curran, has done a great job. Red Dirt Rangers. There'll be a great lineup down there, and so go out and get feel some Tulsa music for sure while you're down there. And then I'm going to bring it back to Oklahoma City the following night, March 16th, next Friday night will be the national premiere for the movie I Can Only Imagine. So it's based on the #1 hit Christian song of all time with the same title, I Can Only Imagine, by the band Mercy Me, who also ironically has deep Oklahoma roots, and we just inducted Mercy Me, the band, into our Oklahoma Music Trail. And so we're very excited. They filmed that entirely, as I think you all know, in Oklahoma, using I think over about 80% of our local crew, tons of extras and so forth. So it actually premieres Thursday night is the first time you can get tickets. So what is that? That's the 15th. So it's the same night as the Tulsa Boom. So if you're here local, you can go to, I made a quick call to just verify this. You can go to icanonlyimagine.com and then search for movie tickets, and you just punch in your zip code and it'll tell you what theater. It's at theaters they've got Oklahoma covered.
Cool.
Hopefully just about any theater that you live close to, you can go and see the movie. So that'll be fantastic. And we really hope that this movie does really well, with the box office.
Great. And
definitely shines a great light on our state and our locations and our people. And then just moving down the road in March 24th and 25th is the Sunny Side Up Film Festival in Ardmore. Then the Bison.
I hope there's some breakfast involved there.
I hope so. I sure hope so. On Lake Murray. And then the Bison Film Festival is March 30th and 31st, and that's in Ponca City. And then just looking down the road, just because Mallory mentioned Zach Malloy is the founder of the Oklahoma Songwriters Festival, so that's just right around the corner. There will be a contest and an opportunity for some of our Oklahoma artists to perform during this festival on April 14th at the Tower Theater at their songwriter showcase. So
we may need to Skype with him from Nashville again.
Maybe we'll do that. Yeah, we did do that last year. That was good. A little bit of, and so he brings a little bit of Nashville here and pours into at a songwriters camp that our office sponsors on Saturday the 14th, and that'll also be at Tower Records. So we're excited about that. That's later in April, but April 6th, which is another cool tie to Mallory, is the Metro Music Fest. And Scott Booker is the director of, as you may know, the Academy of Contemporary Music at UCO here in Bricktown, and he does a fabulous job with this festival. It is all in Bricktown, of course, and there's some the national act is Mavis Staples.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely want to come out and see her, and Mallory can talk a little bit more about it, but it's an opportunity. We've got some great headliners, but it's an opportunity for all the students at ACM at UCO to open for some of these national and regional acts, and it's all over Bricktown, and it's that full day, and it goes late into the evening on April 6th. So it's free, so just go out, and maybe you can talk a little bit more because you played at the festival last year.
Yeah, I've played in it the last couple of years, and it's been an amazing experience, honestly, just to be on a bill with, names such as, not this year, but like the students this year will be on a bill with Mavis Staples and the Revolution Band. That's just absolutely incredible, and throughout the years, it's just continuing to grow. More stages, more student bands getting involved. I think this year they have 45 to about 50 student bands that will be playing through the festival, which is incredible. That's awesome. It gives a great platform for students to get out there and show their music too.
On that point, I was at Kane's Ballroom a couple months ago for a show, and there's all those historic posters over the decades of the artists who've come through there, and the opening acts on some of it, you're like, that person opened for that person. It's kind of just cool to see, and then they become the person later on. So
Exactly. It's amazing.
All right, well, it's time to hear some of Mallory's work. Website, where can we find more of the music itself?
You can find all of my stuff. It's just my name, Mallory Eagle. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, he's got the website up there, MalloryEagle.com.
Great.
and I need to update a few things on that. But basically, that's it. But yeah, thank you guys so much.
Sure. And the song Red Dirt Home, what's that about?
It is literally just about growing up here in Oklahoma and some of my experiences and just, yeah, just red dirt that's like in your blood, you know? It runs deep. It does, yeah. You can't get. You see, she knows. She knows now.
It's on your boots. It's in your camera.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. So this is Mallory Eagle, ladies and gentlemen.
Another morning, casting out those poles, waiting on fish to come, jumping out. Living life out here, well, it's pure gold. No stoplights, just four-way stops, 'cause that's how we roll. Where there's fishing, wildflowers, and a barbecue. That's all I know, this surrendered home. And Grandma telling stories from her days. She never left the farm where she was raised. Lived through the Dust Bowl to see better days. Hardworking and loving, 'cause she's Okie raised, where there's fishing, wildflowers, and a barbecue. That's all I know, this red dirt home. Now looking out over the fields, a soft golden haze. That's all I know, it's a red dirt home. That's all I know, it's a red dirt home.
She's Mallory Eagle, ladies and gentlemen. What a voice.
Thank you so much.
Sounded fantastic. Great job. Red Dirt Home, off of the album Red Dirt Home. You can find more of Mallory at MalloryEagle.com. Tour information, merchandise. There's always merch, right?
Right, yeah. I actually just got all the proofs sent off to the printer today. So I'll have physical copies.
Well, congrats on the music, the album, the touring, and the shows. And thank you very much for your time. Avril Z Speaks, producer, just rapped, she says, of Hosea.
Yes.
Which leads to the other side of that, of putting it together now, as well as Jinn, which will have its world premiere this Sunday down at South by Southwest. Congrats on all of that. Best of luck to you both at South by Southwest.
Thank you.
Very nice to meet you both. As I mentioned off the top table, you always bring in interesting, very talented people. And as you can see from the conversation and hear from the music, that is once again the case. Ladies, congrats to you both on your careers.
Thank you so much.
Tava, as always, great to catch up.
It was awesome. Yeah, that was very moving. Thanks, Mallory. Yeah, I mean, it definitely speaks to Okies. I mean, I was born and raised here, so I don't think I can top that.
No, not at all. Table, we'll do it again next month.
Sounds great. All right.